going on against the terrorists in our country. I want to shoot terrorists. I want to help my country.
I'm proud of my son because he wants to fight in this war. I support him fully. We as Turkish people will stand up to whoever wages war against us.
The Turkish authorities say that around the country their troop numbers have swollen by getting on for 5,000 volunteers of some kind. That's more than the entire estimated numbers of PKK fighters inside Iraq. This 24-year-old was postponing his university education for the national cause.
Everyone who wanted to go to the west for the national service now wants to go to the east. I believe there should be more soldiers recruiting after these PKK incidents. There are more of them now. It's unbearable, that's why I want to go.
The sense of national calling seems to be led by the youth, but middle-aged men and women too are known to have enrolled. Patriotism here has become a juggernaut. In a time of war, all countries have a tendency to become nationalistic, and yet that sense of rampant patriotism is particularly pronounced here in Turkey just at the moment. It's also quite surprising, since the war against the PKK is hardly new. Turkey's been fighting them for the last 25 years, and yet something about this crisis at this point in time is pushing people's emotions here to the very edge. This anti-war activist reckons it's a mixture of pressure by the military on the government, media incitement, and crucially a sense of nationalism hardwired into Turks from their earliest days.
Well, it starts from the family. During your childhood in the primary school, every morning the old class starts the day with saying, I am Turkish, I am clever, I'm industrious, and proud to be of a Turk. It starts like that. And the national days is also pumped, and it goes on like that. And when the time comes that the nation is in danger, everybody takes his flag and goes to the street without thinking any other thing.
So the contradictions in this crisis of Turkey, NATO's second biggest army, threatening to invade Iraq against the express wishes of the Americans, or the simple facts of one Muslim people threatening another, mean nothing here. This is now about defense of the flag. And frankly, many Turks will be disappointed if there is no war. Lawrence Lee, Al Jazeera, in Istanbul.
Well, let's get some analysis now. Joining me.
Well, I think that the amount of diplomatic pressure that has been exerted on Turkey so far has been successful in the sense that the Turks have remained, you might say, contained, and in the sense that no incursions into Iraq has yet taken place, and the Turks have been satisfied with the level of operations that they've been conducting so far. But really, the future success of whether this matter can remain contained depends on how events proceed in the next few weeks. But certainly Turkey is poised for action were it to suffer the kind of casualties or the kind of sufferings that it did in the past few weeks.
And if Turkey does decide on military action, what impact do you think that'll have on the region?
Well, I mean, the general consensus that it would have a very destabilizing effect on the region. But the fact is that Turkey and the Kurdish problem are something that have been, its Kurdish problem is something that has been sort of on the radar screens for the last 20 years, and it has taken a sort of a meandering path. And regional states, countries like Iran, have at times been very sympathetic towards the Turks, at times been supportive of the PKK. But right now, there is a common factor that is shared between Turkey, Iran, Syria, as well as the central government in Iraq, and that is not to have a new Kurdish problem and not to allow this issue to get out of hand. At the same time, there is a sort of a demand on the part of countries like Iran, Syria, and Turkey to contain the Kurdish problem that they have, their own indigenous Kurdish problems, and to ensure that the fact that there is an autonomous Kurdish region in Iraq does not affect their Kurdish problem in an adverse way. And you see that there are many
Excuse me interrupting.
Turkey
has been talking
expressed by all of them.
to Syria and Iran. What solution do you think would appease all of them?
Well, I think the solution that would please all of them is for there not to be violent action masterminded by certain Kurdish elements against their government. I mean, that is the first and foremost concern. At present, you have the Turkish government being confronted with the PKK and the Iranian government facing this new organization called PAJAK, which many in Iran claim is somehow linked to the Turkish PKK movement, and this has spilled over into violence. So first and foremost on everybody's agenda is to try and create a situation whereby violent action on the part of these elements do not disrupt the stability of Turkish and Iranian societies, and at the same time does not create a situation where the Kurdish problem in both countries reaches new levels, which puts strains on the relations between the various communities.
Okay, Mr. Medad Konsari from Los Angeles, thank you very much for your time.